Gucci seen you on YouTube, reached out to you. How did you feel when he reached out to you? Was you fucked up? Did you believe it? Or you thought it was a fake account?
Yeah, I ain't believe it at all. Look at my phone. I said, hell no, I wake up, I get all the way up. Look at my phone again. He text me again. He was like, what's up? I text back right there. I was like, what's chopping? He was like, man, I'm rocking with your music, home. You too hard. I instantly put my clothes on, leave. I go to the house. I wake Pops up. You know, this my manager. Hell no, this ain't real.
Right.
I wake him up. I show him. He couldn't believe he done there sweating. He get to sweat. So look, he sent me his number. He said, FaceTime me. I FaceTime him from there. We talked about like 5 hours. And it was up from there. And now fucking twin sister mama's cousin.
Pooh Shiesty and Choppa Gang ran down on Gucci Mane, relieved him of some of his possessions, and basically forced him to sign a contract releasing Pooh Shiesty from 1017. I had people hit me up saying some of Gotti's people are the one who did this. When you listen to the FDO song, he's shouting out Yo Gotti. If you're signed to Gucci Mane, you are not showing Yo Gotti love.
That means it was a sneak attack. Let's just say maybe Gucci made arrangements to come to Dallas. Let's say that.
Yeah.
Pooh's in Dallas, I'm gonna book some studio time. Yeah. We gonna get it in. Hey, Pooh them at the door, let them in. They come in, right? It had to be some shit like that. Gucci wouldn't have been anticipating the problem. It wouldn't have been that easy.
I feel like the signing artist part of Gucci's life is over.
But bro, what's really gonna be over is Pooh Shiesty's career. Yeah. He's gonna put his on the shelf. Y'all going on the shelf, boy.
Ain't putting on, man. That's all we know, man. Putting on like the lawn, man. Freedom man. Know what's going on.
Their way.
Devils who got them served. They weren't doing it for a little saint, man.
Snitchatron.
You got
what y'all expected out of Pooh Shiesty since he just got out?
So what we expecting out of Pooh Shiesty since he just got out?
Yeah.
Music.
Yeah,
music for sure.
Not enough to get it back in blood.
Get back in that music for sure.
That's all he gonna be focused on watching. That's all you gonna see.
Don't do no club.
He ain't about to do. They say he's just about to drop hella shit.
No bullshit right now.
He's just about to drop shit.
At least it was for me. I didn't really expect it, but you know they're saying Pooh Shiesty robbed Gucci Mane over Gucci Mane not wanting to help out when Scar died, and they're saying that now he's signed to Yo Gotti.
They said he was locked up. I just saw he out.
Oh, he's out, or he was in.
He was on live.
A halfway house for a while.
He was in a halfway house, but he wasn't posting on the internet while all that was going on. I heard that too. They went in the studio, met him. Tried to press him like all his big homies. You know, I think they said his pops, all type of motherfuckers. And then they said Gucci punched one of them and they shit. You feel me? So. Ain't no telling. I don't believe Gucci just sit there and just let a nigga do something to him. You know what I'm saying? Over the scar, I mean, I understand everything, but they say Gucci's supposed to punch one of them ain't shit. And his ring fell off and his watch like broke, and they picked it up. So I don't think it was like a robbery, like, nigga, give me that shit. You know what I'm saying? It was a scuffle, it was going down, and then he lost his pieces.
A jury just looked a man in the eyes and said, guilty. First-degree murder. The kind of verdict that ends your freedom for life. And 38 minutes later, that same man walked out of jail like nothing happened. Not because the case fell apart, not because new evidence came out, but because of a mistake. And now, one of Memphis's biggest rappers is allegedly tied to helping him stay hidden. This isn't a movie plot. This is real life. And it's getting uglier by the day. Let's start with the moment that should have locked everything in. Anthony Green, known in the streets as Choa Wop, finally stood trial for a murder that happened years earlier. Prosecutors laid everything out: surveillance, witnesses, forensics, the burned vehicle, the timeline. The jury didn't hesitate. Guilty. In Tennessee, that verdict doesn't come with options. It comes with life. No shortcuts, no quick appeal, just the slow realization that your life as you knew it is over. That's what everyone in that courtroom believed. But behind the scenes, something wasn't lining up. Because while the court processed the conviction, the jail system was still operating on old information. Paperwork from a lesser charge, a theft case that Anthony Green had already bonded out on. The conviction documents? They weren't in the system yet. And in a system that runs on databases and checklists, If it's not on the screen, it doesn't exist. So the jail did what the computer told them to do. They released him, 38 minutes after being convicted of first-degree murder. By the time anyone realized what had happened, the front door had already closed behind him. Yeah, but to understand why this spiraled the way it did, you need to understand who Anthony Green really is. This wasn't a random guy with no ties. Cho Wap was plugged into the Memphis street network long before this case ever made headlines. Same circles, same neighborhoods, same code. And one of those connections allegedly runs straight to Pooh Shiesty. Memphis isn't a city where crews are scattered and disconnected. It's tight. Everybody knows somebody who knows everybody. Loyalty isn't just talked about, it's enforced. Pooh Shiesty came up in that environment. Before the fame, before the charts, before the label deals, the people around him now are largely the same people from back then. Cho Wap was one of them. And that matters. Because this story didn't start in a courtroom. It started on a summer night in 2020. Whitehaven, June. Late evening, a 27-year-old man named Octavius Atkins was sitting in his car at an intersection. No argument, no warning, just another night. Then a white Mercedes SUV pulled up. Shots rang out, multiple rounds, fast, no hesitation. Octavius didn't make it. Another man nearby was hit too. He survived, but just barely. The Mercedes disappeared. Hours later, police found it torched behind a building, burned down to destroy anything that could talk. DNA, prints, ballistics. That wasn't panic, that was planning. Detectives knew immediately they weren't dealing with a random act. This was someone who understood how investigations work and tried to erase himself from it. Months passed. Surveillance footage was reviewed, witnesses talked, patterns emerged. Eventually, one name kept surfacing: Anthony Green. And he was arrested months later during a routine traffic stop, charged with first-degree murder, locked up, waiting. And while he sat in jail, the case moved slowly, like they always do. But here's where things quietly got complicated. Alongside the murder charge, Anthony Green also had a separate theft charge, way less serious. He bonded out on that charge while still being held for murder. 2 cases, 2 paper trails. And when the jury finally came back with that guilty verdict years later, those trails collided in the worst way possible. The conviction paperwork didn't hit the jail system fast enough. The bond paperwork did, so the jail followed procedure and made the worst possible call. When authorities realized the mistake the next day, panic hit. New warrants were issued immediately. Not just for the murder, but additional charges tied to the shooting and the injured victim. But by then, Anthony Green had a 24-hour head start, and you don't vanish like that without help. That's when the whispers started, because people weren't just asking how he got away. They were asking who was making sure he stayed gone. And that's where Pooh Shiesty's name entered the conversation. Now let's be clear, these are allegations, investigations, not convictions. But according to sources close to the case, authorities believe help didn't stop at that jail door. Even from behind bars, influence still matters. Money still moves, connections still work, messages still get passed. Investigators reportedly believe funds were being funneled through associates, not directly, not sloppily. Small amounts, multiple hands, harder to trace. When you're on the run, money isn't optional. You need it to move, to eat, to switch locations, to stay quiet. And that's just the beginning. Safe places don't just appear. Burner phones don't buy themselves, vehicles don't magically show up unregistered. That requires a network. And Memphis has one of the tightest street networks in the region. People who don't ask questions, people who don't talk, people who believe loyalty comes before everything. Authorities are reportedly tracking patterns, phone calls, financial activity, associations. And when you're locked up federally, nothing you say is private. Every call is recorded, every message watched, every pattern analyzed, even coded language leaves fingerprints. And when investigators start leaning on lower-level associates, pressure builds fast. Mo, because harboring a fugitive isn't a slap on the wrist charge. It's serious federal time. Not some slap on the wrist, not a weekend in jail, not a fine you can write off. We're talking decades behind bars. And that kind of pressure, it doesn't just hit the person directly involved. It spreads. It ripples. Family members who might have handed him a meal, friends who let him crash for a night, anyone who opened a door, passed along a phone, or carried a message. All of them could suddenly find themselves staring down serious charges. Harboring a fugitive, aiding and abetting, obstruction of justice, the law doesn't differentiate between degrees of loyalty. If you touch the chain, the weight comes for you too. And that's exactly what makes this situation so much bigger than one rapper, one fugitive, or one jailbreak. Because it wasn't just a man slipping through the cracks, it was the entire system failing. Imagine this. A man convicted of taking a life, sentenced to a mandatory life term, walking out of a jail because a stack of papers didn't make it to the right desk. Not corruption, not a slick legal loophole, just a simple, deadly clerical error. One mistake. And suddenly, the consequences aren't limited to paperwork. They're spilling into lives, communities, and families. The fallout puts everyone at risk. Families who had finally started to feel a sense of closure are thrown back into confusion and fear. The victims' relatives, who had endured years of grief, legal delays, and emotional exhaustion, suddenly have to live with the fact that the person responsible is back on the streets. The emotional whiplash is brutal. Imagine counting down the years, watching justice inch forward, and then being told that it all came undone because of a misfiled document. That kind of trauma doesn't heal quickly, and it doesn't just stay within one household. It spreads through the community. People start questioning their safety, their trust in law enforcement, and whether they can even walk the streets without looking over their shoulder. And the community? They're left asking questions that, frankly, should never exist in 2025. We have computers, we have databases, we have safeguards designed to prevent exactly this kind of nightmare scenario. And yet, in the blink of an eye, technology and process failed. Timing became more powerful than the law, and a life sentence evaporated faster than anyone could react. It's a reality check on how fragile the system can be when human error intersects with high stakes. Now, authorities are fully aware, and the investigation is far from over. Federal agents, local police, and investigative teams are tightening the net. Every lead is being followed, every connection scrutinized, every person involved is under watch. And when Anthony Green is eventually caught, and make no mistake, history tells us he will be, the spotlight won't just shine on him. Everyone who played even a small part in enabling his temporary freedom will feel the heat. Friends, family, associates, the consequences will be real, and they'll be severe. This story isn't just about loyalty, it's about the fine line between standing by your people and stepping into complicity. It's about weighing the code of the streets against the weight of the law. It's about asking whether risking decades behind bars is ever worth protecting someone else, even if that someone is a friend, a homie, a brother by choice. Because some mistakes don't fade with time. They echo. They leave a mark on everyone connected. And the way this one unfolded, something tells me it's far from over.